Imagine standing shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of Floridians, business owners, and advocates inside the state capitol, ready to make real change. That's what Cannabis at the Capitol is all about. The signature Lobby Day and Education Expo from the Florida Cannabis Action Network, where voices intersect with policy and passion turns into progress. For just $50 for individuals, you'll gain access to expert briefings, self-guided meetings with lawmakers, and the power to influence Florida's cannabis future. For businesses, $300 unlocks premium access. Connect with decision makers, showcase your enterprise, and build alliances in a fast-growing sector. Whether you're a medical patient seeking stronger access, an entrepreneur navigating regulations, or a company ready to stand at the forefront of industry change, this is your platform. One day in Tallahassee could shift a lifetime of regulation. Join us. Be present. Be heard. Be the change at Cannabis at the Capitol.
Okay, so it says that we are live.
Hey.
All right. Well, we're going to keep continuing because if I learned anything from last week, the show goes on regardless of if we're live or not. So this is Cynthia Brewer. This is Elevated Intel, and I have two amazing co-hosts with me. Jodi is traveling back from her mildly fun adventure. I'm not going to say she's having a great time because I think there were some delays in travel, poor thing. But she will be back for next week. And today I've got Julie Kurtz with me and, of course, Jeff Demond from The Grateful Veteran. Now, Julie was my wonderful co-host like a month ago, and she broke some amazing astrological news on the show. I was even like, what? Like, are you sure? You want to go? This is live, like I was second guessing. And it turned out to be, I went down the rabbit hole for a week. Do you or have you heard any updates, Julie, before we even get into it, about your asteroid, comet, UFO?
Well, there are updates depending on who you ask, but right now
I'm asking you.
So right now, it has just traveled. It's still in our solar system. Now you have to understand that this thing is traveling like 153 miles or 153,000 miles an hour.
I was about to say the other one's kind of slow.
So it's going pretty quick, and we finally got some pictures of it after the government shutdown came back, and the Hubble gave us some pictures which weren't very. They were kind of grainy. We've been getting better pictures from some of our amateur people with telescopes. Okay. But it is traveling on its way out of the solar system. They do say
Mars.
So it depends on who you ask. Like I said, right now it's traveling. It's so fast that it cannot. It's hyper.
You got.
I can't think of that word, but it's traveling too fast for any gravitational pull to pull it into their gravity, like the sun or anything like that.
So we won't attract it and make it hit us. And then okay, good. That's great.
NASA says we have nothing to be worried about, but some people do. We will be the closest to it, which is going to be like 174 million miles, which will be the closest to it, December 9th. Close. So a lot of people are excited to see what's going to happen on that day.
But don't put on your Adidas tracksuit or your Nikes and shave your head and eat the cyanide applesauce like the Heaven's Gate people.
And
don't do it.
What was it, to the top of one of those buildings where they had a party?
You're talking like Deep Impact style. I was thinking Heaven's Gate cult, where they saw the Hale Bob,
yeah,
tracksuit, and then they didn't do the Kool-Aid, they did applesauce with cyanide. You're talking the hit movie, Deep Impact and or Armageddon, where everyone's like, no, I don't want. Please don't let Steven Tyler sing for us. Like, we're good. But it is very interesting that it broke here it wasn't like the first to break, but this was the first to break it for cannabis news about this comet. So I'm glad you were able to update our listeners. I know they were on the edge of their seat.
It's been very exciting to watch and to listen to all the conspiracy theories too. I mean,
that's what I like the most. Like the comet is responsible for JFK's murder and all that stuff. Yeah. Like super, like this is all I listen to is like murder porn and trash, like on YouTube. It's horrible.
All the good stuff.
all the good stuff. Like, yeah, I'll believe anything for a second. So today we do have some good topics we need to talk about. We want to talk first about why we added Jeff on today. Now, I am glad because of two reasons. He's going to talk to us about our final week of Ambassador Weeks out in Tallahassee and how that was. He's been probably the most familiar face in Tallahassee for these Ambassador Weeks. And this is the first time we did it. And Jeff's like the star. And Gus.
And Gus.
And Tara.
And Tara.
Like, Tara's amazing. She's a great woman. You married a good lady. And Gus, you picked a great dog. He looks amazing in his bandana. And I am like by far the best idea I've had all year. And so we want to know, like, last week, was it boring because you've already been through it a bunch of times? Who'd you take with you this time? What'd you see?
So it was Andy and Tara and our first responders department head went with us this time. So we had 4, and Hector Ruse.
Hector Roots from South Florida.
It was not boring, because we had work to do. And I think that, the Ambassador Week was great, but I don't know that we would have been as comfortable and have been able to do and see and feel as accomplished as we did without going as many weeks as we did.
So you got more comfortable.
Right. That first week was like, not just the walking, but the learning was exhausting. And then you're trying to process it all the next day. Like, oh yeah, I remember where this is. But even this week, when we got there, the first thing we did was go upstairs instead of downstairs for the cafeteria. Right. So you just get a little bit confused. So it was beneficial for us to have gone before. That middle week, we were very active, shaking hands of all the different veterans in the House and in the Senate, making friends, trying to like at least say, hey, thanks for your service.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're doing now, serving again in the Senate or the House or whatever it might be. We're a veteran organization. Just out of respect, I want to let you know that we're in the building doing work on this. I tell them everything, and it seems like it went over really well. And
I think it definitely went over well.
Of course, Gus was the door opener for most of them. I mean, literally, we walked by Senator Burgess's office. He had people in there. So I didn't want to go poke my head in or anything like that. And Tara noticed that he had pillows made in the shape of a dog on his dogs were made into pillows on the couch in
on the sofa.
waiting room, right on his sofa.
Oh, how cute.
And we walked by, and one of his aides came out and stopped us because we had Gus, and she screamed back, Danny, come see this dog. And he came out and petted Gus, and he wanted to know Gus's real name's Gus Aluphagus.
He left his guests to pet a dog. That's perfect. That's perfect.
And we stood in his doorway while his next appointment was like there.
Yeah.
And had a 5-minute discussion on what we were doing. That's when he said, verbally said, I'll get with Senator True now to discuss this bill. And, so I followed up with all those things that he said to me in the hallway. And his reply was, it was great to see Gus Aluphagus. Anything you need, any more information you want to send me, any. And
dude, you learned how to break Tallahassee. Like, it's we couldn't figure out what the magic formula is, like if you give them compliments, if you give them gifts, if you show up in this, if you act like this, if you're appropriate with this. No, you need a dog and a veteran.
Well, so honestly, we had this kind of conversation. Gus was a tactical choice, and the veterans that we had and the veterans that we were trying to bring from Lake County were of a specific thread that were able to communicate up and down their own military chain of command. And that transfers right over to walking around the halls, especially if you're meeting military members. Kind of gives you an ease of comfortability that I can speak directly to him, because I don't have an issue with that. I can just do it, especially from being in the military. Where
it's organic,
right. It's very organic for us. And Tara being a nurse for a long time, Matt being a firefighter, we're all kind of forced into conversations, whether we like it or not, in our different jobs. And so it seemed really natural for us, especially after the first week with Jodi making introductions, and we kind of made a big splash that first week. As we kept coming back, people would notice Gus and say, "Oh, I saw you here last week," or whatever. Um, yeah, you know, I think that the way that it went for us, I couldn't have asked for a better team to go up with me, or better, or be a better associated with another organization like with Florida Can, like
And you
opening
roll
doors.
deep. You roll
Yeah,
deep. Like you don't
yeah,
go solo. Like
no,
you have an entourage that you have invited as your personal guest to
yeah,
attend these weeks with you, which I'm going to tell you right now, Jeff, like most people don't do that. They just say, okay, I'm coming, I'm here, tell me what to do, where to go, who to talk to. But you're like, I'm coming and I brought 5 other people that are coming with me. So, like, tell us where we can be the most,
right.
make the most impact. And that's what you've done. And now you're probably up there with celebrity status like Jodi. They're going to put your plaque in your face. And like mine's in like the security room, like warning this girl, she'll go anywhere if she's allowed to. Don't let her out of your sight. But like I think it's great to be familiar with people in Tallahassee in such a short time. They know who you are. They don't maybe not know exactly what you're pushing yet, unless you've talked to all of them, but they know who you are. They
Sure.
recognize you.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd rather them say like uh Senator Burgess said, "Oh, yeah, I saw you and your dog sitting in committee hearing." Well, I'd rather him say that than, "Oh, I saw you back there," because, like, I know I'm recognizable, but not everybody like goes, "Oh, hey, come on in and talk to me. You look great with your fuzzy beard."
Hey,
Not
you
everybody
with the
says that, but
beard.
they go, "Oh, Gus, your beard is so beautiful."
Well,
So,
Gus is great, but also I think if you ever meet somebody that doesn't have love and respect for veterans, then call me and let me know because I want to meet that person too, and then probably commit some crimes. But like I've never met anybody like people feel a certain I know this sounds horrible. It's gonna sound bad. People feel a certain way about kids. Like we all love kids, but like
yeah,
I'm not gonna go advocate for child education because that I don't have any kids. I like kids. I'm not gonna like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I care, but it's not my platform. It's not my believies. But veterans and dogs are two things that like everybody likes. Everybody will support and advocate for. And I don't want you to feel ever exploited, like
right,
because you're a
no,
veteran, we can get you into place. You already did the work. You
right,
put the work in a
right,
long time ago. And so the fact that I'm actually proud of Tallahassee, even though I call it Tallahassee sometimes, I'm stopping that. I'm proud that they actually recognize that, there's a service dog because somebody needs the service dog. And that's actually a person that served our country. I'm going to give them just a second of my time. Even if I can't give them anything else, at least I will shake their hand, say thank you, pet their dog. And that makes me very proud. That makes
yeah.
me very happy.
We felt that kind of love up there, especially like that first week she was introducing us to people, and we kind of tried to figure out what we were getting our footing. We
Hmm.
already knew we had Rep Valdez going to carry the bill and stuff. We didn't have any flavor in the Senate, so um, Tara like went through that book and found all the different veterans, and so we knew which ones were on which committees. And
Yeah.
so True Now and Burgess are both veterans, and they're not in my district. And I
Nope.
and I expressed that to them, like,
They don't
Senator
care.
Senator Martin's my senator, but I wanted to bring this to you because it's a veteran issue. Like, and I told them, like, we've had over 205, 206 something people since June, right? So
Right.
that's all I can catch. But if we pass this bill, everybody is benefits from it. And to
That's
see
so
them
true.
kind of process that, like, in real, we're talking about 660 or 66,000 something people. If you break down the numbers percentage wise, veterans in the registry, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, um, and he even wanted to know, like, what would that kind of money look like as a loss to the DOH? You know,
Oh, that's a good point. Actually, it's a great
question.
question.
Yeah.
right? And he was
It's
very,
not that much, to be honest.
no,
Like, if the department or the OMMU is that concerned about losing the $75 investment for your medical card compliance versus the 1 million patients we've got,
right,
and you said it was 66,000 roughly
right.
veterans there on. I would think it would be more, but you know what? I trust you. I think they can swing that, because if I did my calculations right and you look at the patient count year over year, assuming nobody ever renewed, and you calculate $75 per person plus the application fees, the fines, and everybody in the current program, it's substantial money.
It's a lot
I
of
would
money.
love to look at their like accounting. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, and they have to pay for the staff and the card people, and they have to give money from the cards to FAMU or whatever. But
FAMU and
that, you know what? They're spending a lot of money on like going to court, because people love to sue them, but they sue them because you let them sue you, whatever. I think we can swing it. I would be willing to pay more so that veterans didn't have to pay anything. That's where I nobody asked.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think when we were talking to them, they felt that same way. Like most of them were like, "Why are you asking for a $15 reduced fee card? It should be free." And I'm like, look, we've tried that. We've tried.
We tried it, but when we tried it the first time, it was free cards for veterans, and non-veterans only have to go every 2 years. Well, that's a substantial decrease in their revenue,
Oh yeah,
in their income. And so if you pair two things together, it looks really bad when it should just be about the veterans. Free cards for veterans. Let's move forward and pass this stuff, and then we'll talk about patients. But to be honest, it's $75 a year. I would pay more if it meant that the people that have served our country, or maybe people that can't afford certain things, anyone, you know what? I'll pay extra so that other people can get a break. And that's fine. Nobody asks us though
right,
how we would feel. And a
right.
lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't want to spend more money." You get to smoke weed legally in the state of Florida. You get to go to a place and buy weed and leave, and like all the time. Like, it is crazy to think about. So just be grateful. Grateful veteran. I love
Right?
that.
Be
So I
grateful.
wanted, if you don't mind staying on for some of the show, because I really am glad that we can segue your activity and your activism out in Tallahassee with some of the topics that we're going to cover today. Julie and I, just bringing up to speed everybody on the week's news, because there wasn't like, did you see a lot of news, Julie?
Not really. A lot more talk about the ban. I've
Everybody's
seen.
talking about the ban and MJ BizCon out in Vegas. Apparently, I do have an insider that's there that's very
Oh, I
familiar
got a
with
few of them.
the program. I cannot disclose their name. They told me in confidence, but they said there are people on panels out there that are losing their minds.
Yeah.
That are like, "You're taking money out of my kids' mouths," and they're like, "You got to use this loophole for like 7 years, like." You should have saved money for your kids' food. If that's but like, people are getting very vocal. I can't wait to talk to Jen when she gets back to see how exciting and how like scandalous it got out in Vegas. But
Yeah.
people
Well,
are still talking about
I think most of the people that are not most, I'm not going to say most, a
Mhm.
lot of the people that are in the hemp industry may have taken that bill and used it for nefarious things.
it. Absolutely. They
So
exploited a loophole, and they
right.
were opportunistic retail feeders like sharks,
And
because
they
why wouldn't
talked
you?
about it and they
Yeah.
announced it. Oh, it's the government loophole. I'm working within that
Sorry,
loophole.
I'm
Right.
following the
Definitely.
rules. Look
Right.
I'm going to cite the farm bill. And to
Right.
be honest, like, it wasn't always like this. 2018, people were excited to make CBD. Now, we thought there'd be an even balance between CBD growers and industrial hemp. And then we realized you need a lot of space for industrial hemp. There was a couple
Manufacturing.
people, they don't have a decorticator to process it. So everyone's kind of leaning towards CBD to make those products because it's more lucrative. And they did. But then after CBD market was flooded and oversaturated, they're like, well, what? I put all my stuff into this. What am I supposed to do? And then the kitchen chemistry, and then you know how we got here. But yes, they knew what they were doing. This was not a surprise. It's not like they accidentally fell into the hemp space and all these products just showed up on their doorstep. They went and researched what the people wanted. People wanted a way to get out of your current state of mind, psychoactive properties, without having to go through the rigmarole of the card. Maybe they thought that they were giving too much information to the state, losing their ability to have a firearm. There were
Guns.
so many question marks. It's like, do I want to be put on a list? And we're not going to
Well-
cover it in depth today, but there was even concerns about details of their personal like health going outside of HIPAA compliance, which is something that recently happened in Florida, but I don't have enough details to cover it right now. So yeah, I guess their concern about their personal information is a valid concern, so they go to a hemp retailer. It's I don't blame them for trying to get creative. It's the American way. You want to make a lot of money, but there's a guy down the street that runs a head shop, and they deliver in like Lexuses, Lexi. They have Lexus. They have a, how do I say that? They have a fleet of Lexuses that will deliver hemp products to your door. And to afford a fleet of Lexi, you're not hurting, and you've
You
been
don't-
doing pretty well.
Yeah, you don't really even need a fleet of Lexi. You can just call the UPS man. And
Yeah.
I mean,
I
let's
mean-
face it, UPS is the largest distributor of marijuana in the country.
You know what's funny? When we first started our lab in 2017, I think it was like 2018, I had to ship out some employee files to a lab in another state. Wasn't even shipping anything bad. And UPS seized my package and they kept everything. And I was like, I didn't even break the law. There was no marijuana in there. They were just employee files, but they blacklisted my name and the address and everything. And so now like they lifted it, but it took forever. I couldn't use UPS forever. And now, like you said, hey,
I just had a 50-pound box of nutrients lost in Atlanta.
didn't Carla have like a bunch of products seized that didn't make it to her
He
operation
did.
recently?
Yes. I'm not
So
really
this-
sure what came of that.
Well, I know that was the last episode or the episode before where there was something didn't make it through. And so like things are changing, but also with the hemp ban specifically, because we don't have anything new. We just have speculation, which is not fact. We do see states starting to say, we're not going to wait for the federal government to do something about this. We're just going to go ahead and put rules in place. And we're either going to follow suit and just say, okay, we're going to do what, federal government says, no, we're just all the rules we had, scrap them, or Texas, where they're like,
Yeah.
screw the federal government. We're going to Texas the hell out of these regulations and implement them. And you tell us we can't. Good luck. Pew, pew, Texas. You're like, that's what I think. I love Texas. They're always fun. So they're implementing stuff. I think DeSantis is going to fall in line with the ban, even though he vetoed that bill many years ago about hemp. I don't
did that
think
only to get yes on 3 node.
Well, I mean,
To
I
divide
don't know.
us.
I don't
Yeah.
know if the yes on 3 or of the hemp retailers know that though,
Yeah,
that
no,
they were used or exploited. So
Right.
if he doesn't stand up for them, they're gonna know like that.
Yeah.
Like you vetoed the other, but you don't care about us, and then he'll be like, actually, I kind of don't. And I also that's an interesting point that you brought that up, because the hemp industry supporting DeSantis, supporting the non-support of Amendment 3. I wanted to see and ask people in Florida if the to the lay person that doesn't know the process of Supreme Court review and the one topic requirement, one subject requirement, and the process of getting citizen ran ballot initiatives. So if you were just not aware of any of those things, and the governor said, well, this amendment is not going to allow you to home grow, and it's ran and supported by a big conglomerate company that flipped the bill, and they also don't do this or this, and everybody got very excited. But if they became aware of the process, are they mad that the governor used them to do his bidding?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess they got to thank him for letting it go for a couple more years. I don't know.
I'm
It's just such a weird, precarious situation to be in. Like,
Well, it's
total.
a real life situation because I met a gentleman not too long ago through the craft fair circuit who worked with epoxy. And yes, I know, badass craft fair circuit. But he was an epoxy worker and he sold wood, and I make epoxy tables. So we became friends fast. He's also a cannabis patient. So last year, right around the time that the governor was starting to put all that news out, he asked me, he goes, "What is going on? You told me to support this." And I did. I told him it's good. It's a good baseline. It's a good start. We'll get it something concrete and we'll make it work down the road. And he goes, "You told me to support this. The governor says I can't home grow." And I was like, "You are never going to be able to home grow." And like the one subject rule. And it was just like going past him. He was like, he was mad. He was like, he thought I pulled the wool, but then again, he's looking up stories about where his who he medicates with pulled the wool. And then after the fact, he was like, I was duped by the governor of our state. He made me think I was being taken advantage of by getting me excited about something I wasn't very aware of or I wasn't very well versed in. And then I became well versed and I'm pissed. So if it makes it onto the ballot, which I think it will, I think people are going to spite vote, which I encourage enthusiastically.
They're still collecting signatures. They were in
I saw
Walmart
'em.
parking lot yesterday.
They're
I
sitting
know
at the
that
table.
even with the 20,000 that they threw out, they're still having
200.
200.
200,000. Yeah, they still
Yeah.
will have enough to get on
Oh
the
yeah.
ballot.
We
They have to get them
reported
by
on this last week.
February.
Last week on Elevated Until, Jen Macris and I went into depth with this because news was breaking all the way up until the show. And the Smart and Safe group is not challenging the judge's ruling to invalidate over 200,000 signatures because they know and they prepared with addition. They submitted over 1 million. They only need 886,000 by February 1st. So if they really needed them that bad, they kind of anticipated some antics and that would be going on. And they've been handling each one, even the delay by James Uthmeyer and Cord Bird and, not putting it to the Senate review. I mean, that was dirty. And the governor assisted. And so they finally pushed it through. They also invalidated and they're like, we're not going to challenge it. Go ahead, take those 200,000. We have plenty more.
I think
So-
that in the past years, like home grow, saying those words home grow and having a bill about home grow is kind of plays right into the marijuana culture because everybody's knows exactly what home grow means. But the new right to garden bill,
Yeah.
that there are words that are different that matter. Like we're
Yes.
growing our own stuff. It's not like home grow. It's not like a home grow.
They
When you
think
say
like
home grow,
a
people think
home,
about
a
bedrooms.
grow up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So those words are poisonous, let's say, to the cause. I don't want to it's like saying marijuana instead of cannabis, right? That marijuana is a made up government negative term. Cannabis is medicine. And
Right.
so those I had to learn that when I first got into the business because I was talking about marijuana and weed and that's really not the right way to say it. And same with home grow. Like the whole right to expand your garden thing.
Yeah, the ability to cultivate, self-cultivate for your own personal medicine. He could have said a variety of different things. And I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to talk about different phrasing of words and how it can really mess with the perception that people may or may not have about a group of people, a group of veterans or a group of cannabis enthusiasts, a group of patients, a group of cabinet members, maybe.
Yeah, no, my expressed desire to grow my own is purely for the mental aspect of being able to grow something that could potentially be my medicine. And on top of that, there's no illegality in me bringing over my other veteran friends and showing him how to grow his own flower, right? And that creates a whole network of bonding, sharing
and caring and bonding.
right? You're standing around a plant. I mean, talking about it as medicine instead of we would never do this. Hey, I'll meet you at the VA. We can discuss what we got prescribed today. It doesn't
Oh yeah,
work like that.
you wanna look at each other's pills? Like you
Yeah,
wanna look at our
look, I got
prescriptions?
50 of these. Stupid. That's dumb to think like that. So,
It
you know,
is. It's a great point, but you're
and
talking to
it's not,
two girls here that are really enthusiastic about cultivation
and it's
because
really not all about
she's great.
having the best product. It's just being able to do it.
Yeah,
It's just being able to actually grow one. Like, wow, look at my plant. It's great.
yeah.
You know,
Hers
even
is
It's putting the love into something
yeah,
Mhm.
and feeling that love into that plant and watching that love that the plant gives back to you through what
right.
it gives you and
The
by growing. It's
the
See, I
very
first time
different
you
to
grew the first time you grew, Julie, were you
Crude?
growing because you knew you could do it, or were you doing it because you wanted to see if you could do it?
The first time I grew by myself, I wanted to grow to see if I could do it.
Yeah, me too.
I really didn't know
I was bored.
how impactful that it was gonna be to
I didn't
me.
know I'd be so good at it that like because I it was COVID and I was like, I'm so
Yeah.
bored. All I do is work and go home and I have to be scheduled at the grocery store. So I'm like, I just want to see if I'm good at it. And they got big fast.
Yes.
It turns out I'm pretty freaking good at it. And I learned all these little skills on YouTube and reading different like blogs on how to top, pinch the tops to make, and so all of that, like I felt like it was not just a hobby, but it was like a passion project. And then to be honest, I never took them to flower because like I was afraid. I was in an apartment, but my power went out one time when I was out of town visiting Titusville, and so they went to flower, and I came home to a very stinky apartment. So I
Oh,
was like, I got to get these out before I go to jail. So that was the end of it. But now it's like I know I can do it. I know that the lay person can learn how to do it, and I want to be the person that like teaches them some of the tips and tricks I learned when I was just bored during
so,
Rona.
so even farther for a veteran, like to learn that, right? Um, Caring about that plant, especially like when you first get back, or you don't even really know how to care about yourself.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is this I still have the alarm set on my phone today, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. It says water your plants. Because at that point in my life, I wasn't likely to be up and active more than a couple days in a row anyway, right? So I had to remind myself, go take care of your plants. Not not cannabis plants. Not,
Yeah.
these were Walmart house plants that I had to assign myself responsibility to take care of to
Yeah.
just get myself up and moving. And so to be
How
able to
many
do that
alarms
with
do you have?
I have a lot of alarms.
Okay. That's
But
okay.
this
I
is a
love
month.
it.
This is on my
Reminders.
monthly calendar. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It beeps every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I hear it at 8 o'clock. I'm thinking I got to water my plants.
Do you
But
have
that was a
other
recovery
things
tool.
on other tasks for yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh, I knew it. I like it though. I feel
Well,
like that's a good thing to do.
not by my doing.
Accountability.
But not by my doing. We have to give credit where credit's due. Tara is a calendar keeper. So like when it doesn't show up on the calendar and I say I have to do something, I I have to put it on the calendar. It
Yeah, of
has to
course
be
you do.
on
It's
the calendar.
not
Yeah.
real until you do.
And now
Exactly.
that we have multiple people in our organization to calendar stuff and have it on there, then they can look back and forth and capture that. I wasn't always the best at that, you know.
I wasn't either, but like at the same time, um, seeing incremental achievements,
Yeah.
whether you're looking for something to achieve or just reflecting on things that you've done, especially in this industry, it's kind of nice just to calendar things and be like, even if it was something benign and boring, just to be able to see how much you accomplished in a short amount
Yeah,
of time.
for
And I
sure.
know that you and your group have been incredibly successful. I do want to get your input on a story that I wanted to bring up. So we talked about, we touched on hemp ban and how MJ Biz is probably frothing at the mouth right now with all of their participants. And I'm kind of glad I didn't go this year because
Ugh,
it'd be
missed
such
it.
a great time to go because you could just steal all the stuff off the table as people are bitching on the panels. if it's not nailed down, all the swag's coming with me. So it's like
Friday's the best day, the last day. Everybody's giving stuff away because they don't want to carry it home. You
Well,
bring an extra suitcase.
everything's free. You just have to have that mindset that it's free. You're not going to get in trouble. Take all of it. So they should ration it if they have any concerns. But so besides the fact that there's not a lot going on in Florida, we did touch on smart and safe, and that's moving forward. And I wanted to talk about some federal activity that's happening with psychedelics, which obviously our listeners know I'm huge fan of psychedelics.
Me too.
So is Julie, and I have a great panel today. And Jeff, as a veteran, but also with his personal opinion, I want to know, because I feel like when he mentioned how people phrase or terminology that they use that will give people a sense or feeling about something or make them feel a certain way, I really want his input. So a bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers have introduced the Freedom to Heal Act. This is legislation aiming at expanding the right to try law, which we are all familiar with. This would allow qualified patients access to certain alternative therapies that have not yet received full approval by the FDA. So, as you know, like, you shouldn't be getting medicine that hasn't gone through the ringer of approval, but in certain aspects, it is allowed and it is acceptable. It's not going to be harmful as long as there are certain protections in place. So the bill is sponsored by Senator Cory Booker, which we all know, out of New Jersey, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, Madeline Dean from Pennsylvania, and Nancy Mace from South Carolina. This is like that ragtag group of people that tried to fight the hemp stuff, and they're just getting together to, like, let's just write some legislation about psychedelics in our free time. I'm like, wow, okay. So this would establish a formal pathway for the Drug Enforcement Administration, which we know as the DEA, to authorize physicians to administer these experimental treatments, including psychedelic assisted therapies, and specifically MDMA and psilocybin. Okay. MDMA, as we know, the street name is ecstasy. That's not what it is. It's not the stuff with the stamp of the little strawberry on it that you get from a guy at a nightclub with it in the background. That's not it. This is, I hate to say it, but it's Molly, like the purest form. And so this is not filled with a bunch of other nonsense and stuff that you don't want, that your rave safe kit would like turn black. Anyways, this is MDMA in an attempt to use that and psilocybin for treatment of alternative therapeutic treatment. So the FDA has already said that MDMA and psilocybin have breakthrough therapies for serious mental conditions. Okay. They've already said that out loud, but there is no regulatory mechanism for the DEA to permit clinical administration of these therapies outside of their very tight, closely knit research settings, right? So I'm getting two different point of views here, and that's why I really wanted Jeff's input. So this bill would close that gap of being able to access alternative therapies if you so choose, because you can do experimental therapies. You can even volunteer to be experimented on, as like a trial kind of thing. But Senator Booker highlighted the potential benefits of the measure for veterans and other patients with treatment-resistant conditions, framing the proposal as an effort to expand access while maintaining medical oversight. Now, my question is for Jeff, as a veteran, does it bother you when there's different legislation, different language drafted, different support from senators that group veterans with mental illness?
It doesn't bother me as long as it's framed in the in the in the form of healing, like, mental health awareness, mental health, therapies. Like when you're just lumped, you can't just lump all military veterans into a mental health, or
That's exactly.
even veterans that have had trauma don't necessarily suffer from mental health problems, but
veterans aren't mentally ill.
those. right, but could
Yeah.
benefit from those mental health treatments because of, just the nature of the beast.
Right. We did talk about how there needs to be a carve out almost for veterans who they were you talked to us very in depth before the episode about how you were conditioned into a routine
Yeah,
when you entered the military and you kept to that routine. You were almost your feelings, emotions were turned off or on like
right,
just kind of homeostasis, just like a static. You don't
right,
want to feel too much. They don't
yeah,
want you to feel too much, but you weren't dead inside. You were controlled,
right.
controlling all of those, and you were on a task and you were performing routine activities, and then you were told to go home and just be
Yeah,
regular again. Be you again, that guy.
It'll be you. Yeah,
Yeah, it's fine. Just turn that switch back on. And so the trauma and stressor related disorders, which I consider to be PTSD and almost some cases of suicide, some, because I believe that some could be caused. I am not a mental health professional. I don't pretend to be one, but I do think that there's a separation between exhausting every aspect of trying to get your mind right and you feel like there's no way out versus ongoing depression, maybe something that's been not addressed throughout your life. They didn't serve, one did. So there has to almost be a separation with the suicide side of it because it's real with veterans,
I
right?
kind of talk about that sometimes when I speak, because
Okay.
it wasn't like I really was trying to kill myself. I didn't want to kill myself,
Right.
but in my mind, I was not in any position to care whether I woke up the next day after so many opioids and vodka and whatever else. I wasn't really concerned with whether or not that I was going to wake up the next day, because I just was going to do it again.
Yeah.
Right. I had no higher thought level or goal than to medicate myself to a spot where I didn't care.
You
And
go numb and
no,
it's
yeah,
free.
free.
And it's dished out by an agency that also is like super supportive of anything else you might need, right? So that's
So
not fair.
comparatively to the cannabis industry, there's so much education and understanding that comes with cannabis. And in the military, they were sending 270 oxy 10s to my house. I had no instruction. I had no
What
check.
year was this?
2000. So I've been retired for this year. Right now, I would have been coming home 20 years ago. 20 years. I retired in 2006,
So
February of
you came
2006.
home during the middle of the
Of the
opioid
opioid
crisis,
crisis. Right.
Yeah.
and they were
My,
just shelling them straight to your doorstep.
my first surgery was 2003. I had 4 ankle reconstructions in 3 years, and then they sent me home. 4 ankle reconstructions and a wrist,
Damn.
and then they sent me home. And I never really had a break from opioids. And then when I'm at home, like that was when they would ask you, "What's your pain?" Pain was a qualifier. Like that was the
Yeah, it's
first
like
thing
a
that they asked.
face, and you
Right.
pick your face, right?
I hate that thing.
That
I
only
hate
came out because of opioids. That's the only reason that the
100%.
thing
Excuse me
was
one
picked.
second.
You're good. Jeff did give us a heads up that he was having a guest and he might have to assign him to an area of the house. But Julie, what are your thoughts on it? Like, you don't have to disclose, have you ever struggled with opioids? But like, what do you see as like in your professional expertise as what's being pushed towards patients that suffer versus obviously they're not pushing cannabis, but have you ever known anyone that struggled with dependency
Yes.
because
Yeah.
of pain?
I
Okay.
have personal stories with myself of dependency and personal stories of family members who have died
Yeah.
from prescription overdose and depression.
He
So,
got a break today.
Gus just made an appearance and I'm
oh
sorry.
guys, I
Did
didn't
you see him?
He
I
got
didn't
a he's got a
He got a
break.
hair. He had a braid and a top
He's got a
knot kind of
break.
thing.
oh,
So your personal struggles, your family struggles, losing loved ones because of opioids.
I watched during the late 90s, early 2000s, especially here in Brevard. I mean, people were coming from all over the United States to come to Florida to get opioids because
Yeah.
they were handing we had pill mills and they were
Yeah,
handing them out left and right like it was nothing and not even asking questions and
yeah.
people being able to go to different doctors because they can't get it from one doctor so now they're going to another and taking this to get you up in the morning, taking this to get you going in the day and taking this to go to sleep. It's a constant ongoing thing and it's sad because we have other things that can help with that,
Well, at
and
the time though, it was when everything was so readily available. Everything was so not not that bad. You can go here and there. You have as much as you need, or take more, take extra, take some of mine. When that was cut off, what did you see here in Florida? Because I was
people
in
going to heroin.
right. I was in Atlanta, and I'll tell you, the year I got my wisdom teeth out was 2 or 3 years before my dad got his wisdom teeth out. They gave me Percocet, they gave him OxyContin.
Right.
And we were only like my stepdad is only like about 21 years older than I am. So it wasn't his age. It was the same surgery, just a couple years apart, and very different treatment was prescribed after. And
Yes.
so my dad was like, I can't take it. I won't take it. It makes me sick. I don't like it. So he didn't. I took the Percocet. I had a great time. But then I stopped when they were gone. And
So
I
3 to
was
5 days is a great time frame for pain management.
I had
And
a wonderful time.
if you read some stuff about opioids and cannabis, the combination of the two is excellent to manage your pain. It doesn't have to
Short
be,
term.
yeah, short term, right? And so the problem that I saw in the military, and I believe because it was the opioid crisis, I don't really even blame the surgeons or the doctors that were treating me or any of the staff or
Right.
whatever, because they didn't even know better, right?
Yeah,
It took,
none of us, nobody
yeah,
knew.
we were
Big
lied
pharma
to,
knew.
right? Big pharma knew, right? So when I was able to do that, even like, you know, I was in a bad way. I wasn't using my medicine like I was supposed to. I was walking in the door, chewing two of them up and drinking something to wash them down.
Was it
Uh,
because you knew you could always get more, or because you were trying to find a way of feeling normal?
I was I was trying to find a way to not feel worse,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, so to
Safe,
find a way
if
to
you want
get
to say, right? Better,
yourself better.
right? Right?
Because nobody teaches you that when you get out, right? You
No,
get out, you're told to go home, enjoy your life. Thank you for your service. We thank you for your service. Everyone thanks you for your service. And then you say what in return? You say, "You're welcome, but I'm struggling." No, you say, "You're welcome,"
yeah,
or
right.
"You're welcome. I need help. Can you help me with something?" And someone's like, "Yeah, I got you," because you start. No, it's people weren't offering to help as much as they were offering to thank you. It was almost kind of empty. Is that
Yeah, sure, for sure,
okay?
100%. Yeah. And I
Well,
think even some veterans feel that way, like, "Oh, thanks for your service." And like, you don't even know, but
that's
you're
almost
welcome.
like thoughts and prayers sometimes.
Yes, yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Like shove them up your okay.
yeah,
So
to the moon, to the moon.
thoughts and prayers. Oh my, so and so. There's a school shooting. Thoughts and prayers. I was like,
Yeah,
thoughts and prayers.
that,
Like there's a trash can that says thoughts and prayers on it, and it's
yeah,
like, so
ifs and
yeah, like
buts.
sometimes I always like I say it and then I'm like I sound like such a douchebag because like
No,
what else I want to say something different so I've elaborated on it and I get specific, and I feel like that gives a little more heartfelt. But before I would say thank you for your service and people will say thanks, you're welcome,
yeah.
do my job. They would say whatever they had to get out of that conversation.
I think that most of the people actually feel like, well, it was that I signed up to do that. You're welcome. I like to say thanks for the time that you gave. Thanks for all that time that you served, whatever. I think thank you for the things that you did because a lot of us sign up not even knowing what we're going to do,
Yeah.
right? And so it goes all the way back to that, and that's one reason why we help firefighters and first and police officers and EMS, because they sign up not knowing that, they might go pick up their friend on the road, right? Then it's a hard thing to do. There's
Do you
that's a
think
that's a hard.
do you think that veterans that sign up for service, that volunteer, right,
Yeah,
to go into the military, they may not know that they might have to go into combat. There are some that
sure,
sign up knowing that they will
sure,
probably called for combat. But
sure.
firefighters and police officers have a better idea that they are going to be going into fires. They're going to be going
Right.
into situations that are dangerous. That's why they give you a gun and that's why they give you protective equipment. But I don't know. I feel like they might be more prepared than veterans because they know that they're going to be fighting fires. It's in their name.
Well, the fighting the fire part, I don't feel like is always the most
Right.
harmful
Right.
part of it, because that's the job, right?
Right.
That's kind of their buzz. That's what they like to do: jump off buildings or parachute or whatever it
Save
is. They like
cats
to
and
fight fires.
trees and all
But
that sexy stuff.
but none of them are prepared for those casualties that they come across when they lose a firefighter to suicide, or one of their
9/11,
friends from
their
the community
entire
that they serve. They went and picked up one of their high school friends from the community that they serve that got in a car crash, and that affects them for the rest of their life. Like, you never put yourself in that real position with, like, oh my God, that's my classmate,
first
and now you have
responders.
to deal with it. So it, I understand, like, we all signed up to do something. We all signed up, for that, and are prepared to do that. It's those moments
Yeah.
that 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 capture the brain and get it stuck in a process
Yeah.
that affects those firefighters in those ways. And I talk about, like, Tara's sons are both firefighters. My
Right.
boys, they volunteered when they were in high school, and
They run
so
in when everyone else is running out.
out, right?
And
And
they do
so
that
I tell
every
this
day.
this one story that they had a firefighters Christmas party, and the boys were too young to drink, but they went to the party. They were volunteer firefighters. One of the firefighters took his girlfriend home. Now, I'm from rural Illinois, so took his girlfriend home and was coming down a farm road and missed the turn, and they got big drainage ditches, launched the ditch, crashed the car, and now all the firefighters in the surrounding area have been at this party all night,
Hmm.
and the boys are the ones that had to respond to this because they weren't drinking, and so
Volunteer
they go,
underage.
and it's one of their friends that they pull out of there, and now they talk about the smell of an airbag and how that smell of an airbag brings them back to that spot, right? And when we were talking about those different types of psychedelic therapies, ketamine, MDMA, psilocybin, kind of puts your mind at rest and allows you to see those memories in that spot. Like you said, the disassociative state
Yeah.
brings you back out and lets you look at that, and you can slot those memories in another way so that they're not so right in
Emotionally,
face. Right,
yeah, traumatic. Yeah.
right,
I think that's very interesting. And like I told you, so I watched this like YouTube, like it was like a body cam for cops kind of thing. And these cops pulled over this vehicle and they found like two dead children in this woman's vehicle.
oh my
The
God,
cops obviously were not prepared for it, but the way that some of them had to cope and they showed their body cams. One, it was Muslim and he like got down on his knees and he had his hands out and he was praying. And some of his coworkers did not know he was Muslim. And they were just like, they knew he was so moved by what he just saw. He was a cop. He was meant to, be out there and protect and serve us. But he was not prepared to see that. And nobody could prepare you for that activity.
Yeah.
Others were like, crying uncontrollable. Some had got physically ill. Some went after the woman, the driver, with anger and malice in their eyes because they were so mad that this is something that she made them go through, and all of them were affected traumatically. But I don't think that people respect that the those who serve are not going to come back empty handed.
yes,
There's gonna be residual. And
yes,
you can't leave everything out there as much as they really want you to and just flip that switch back on the regular Jeff, not
mhm.
soldier, whatever, if you were private first class or whatever your what rank was, but you have to just be regular Jeff now, and don't have any residual, because all we have are all these like pills to give you. But when DMT and ketamine, the conversation doesn't really include those a lot as far as treatment. But you and I both talked in depth about how someone who feels everything all the time would so amazingly benefit from being able to disconnect for a second and
Right.
not have that like emotional tie to the activity, to where they could process each part of it and maybe find a way to cope, right?
Right. Right.
It's weird, because someone who has not seen a lot of trauma, I've never seen anybody killed before. I know that a lot of regular people, not just people who had served, I know you have, but everyday people my age, some of them have seen horrible things. I haven't.
Sure.
I've been lucky. I haven't had a lot of loss either. So when these things happen, I know I will not be okay. But disassociatives don't seem like very much fun to me, or very therapeutic, because like what am I going to process if I don't feel anything? I'm going to feel like,
Right.
yo,
Yeah.
what would it feel like for a veteran that would take a disassociative to deal with their trauma after serving?
So like I've had several veterans use ketamine treatment, and the only thing that I can like say 100% is the way I feel that that veteran presented himself and communicated with me afterwards, right?
Okay.
So when I first met this particular veteran, fast talking all over the place, things were like,
Scattered.
going back and forth to different conversations and never really making that 100% eye connection with you to connect. And then after his like first or second ketamine treatment, I could talk to the guy and he would look at me and like
He was
be
grounded.
there. Be there. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was there instead
Present.
of like all over the place. Now he's had to have several ketamine treatments, but I would guess 100% if you had him on here, he'd tell you the same thing, that it just allowed him to get past those spots in his everyday mind that held him up in a spot. And when he did the disassociative and drew back from his life and got to see, this is the things that are making me hiccup in my mind, he was able to adjust them. And we talk a lot about it when I don't know if you've been to any of the psychedelic conferences or whatever. Everybody's setting, dose setting. You have to have the right mindset. You have to be
Set your
willing to go in
intention.
there, right? You
Yes.
have to be willing to accept what's happening in that disassociative state and do the work in your own mind
Right.
about what's happening and what you need to do, right? So you can't just go, I want to do ketamine
Yeah, it's not
first.
recreational.
First. Yeah.
The
Right.
shadow work and integration is very important in all of these.
Because if you're just doing it to do it, that's
It's a recreational activity.
Yeah.
At that
Yes.
point.
right. Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
mission.
Right.
And I think no matter what, I enjoy smoking pot. I do. I enjoy taking psychedelics. I do. I am blessed that I don't have anything that gets in the way, but I won't take things that will uncover trauma that maybe I put somewhere intentionally so that I could live, because like LSD, acid, those might be super beneficial for people that need to cope and attack head on an activity. I am not strong enough, and I know that. And I put stuff places on purpose because I know that I am not able to handle them and be a regular. So that's my coping mechanism. And I'm not brave enough to say I can go to one of those places, do those activities, and come out the other side well. Everything
Intentions.
here.
It's all about your intentions and why you're doing it.
I don't smoke pot in public. I don't go out in public because I know I'm going to make an ass of myself. I do it in my house before bed, even psychedelics. I don't go anywhere. I go maybe to my backyard to explore, but I don't go out because I
have
know
some breaking news.
my limitations. What is it?
I have breaking news.
Are you really?
Yes, I do.
During the show?
Yes,
Okay,
and
what
actually,
happened?
it's been broke in our feed.
Uh-oh.
So technically, our feed is live breaking. We have Senate Bill 776. Thank you, Senator Carlos Smith.
Is he watching
That
our show right now?
I don't
No,
know, but I'm
That's
thanking
awesome.
him because we now have
awesome.
a right to garden bill in
That is amazing.
this.
And that's breaking news. So let's just cover that for anybody who doesn't know. There was a lot of work. We talked about Ambassador Weeks with Jeff and we talked about his participation. This was a 6-week, I know Julie's celebrating. So, we mentioned it on the show. This was a 6-week activity of Ambassador Weeks covering the entire state of Florida, where we sent ambassadors out there. While we were out there kissing babies and shaking babies and kissing hands, whatever it is, there
Whatever it
was
takes.
also homework to be done where Jodi and the team spent a lot of time helping Representative Smith, Carlos Guillermo Smith, who is going to be a hallowed and celebrated name, asked for assistance on that language about home grow right to garden. And you did mention that today, Jeff, where, the terminology is important. So it's 777 or 776.
It is 776.
Okay. And he named
SB,
it what?
Senate bill. It what?
What's the name of it?
I don't see a name. It just says SB 776. I'm just reading straight from our feed.
Okay. So I'll look it up. Maybe it's on the FL Senate website. They'll put like the
Yes.
bill and they'll be like, medical marijuana for cats or whatever. So this is where we had supplied suggestions to Mr. Smith. Obviously, he's the sponsor. Does he have a co-sponsor?
I don't know as of yet. I know we were working on one
And
last week.
we didn't really talk to him about co-sponsorship or nothing. He was super
Or a
excited.
companion bill in
Definitely
in the
companion.
House. No, we
So-
have to have one.
We were working on what is his name?
Because Carlos Guillermo Smith is a senator, and
Right.
so we need a companion bill in the House for this to get some traction. There's
And
got
I
to
know
be.
we talked to Dottie Joseph, and what was the other guy's name?
Well, if you think about it, scream it out in the middle of the show because that's the only way that we're going to get it out.
Okay, I found it
That's
on the
what
for
I
the
was thinking.
Senate.
Okay, what'd you find?
So we've got SB 776, home cultivation of marijuana.
Ooh,
Senator
very
Smith,
eloquent.
home cultivation of marijuana, authorizing certain qualified patients to cultivate up to 6 flowering cannabis plants for
Yep.
personal consumption and non-commercial purpose.
Okay.
Authorizing certain qualified patients to purchase medical marijuana seeds and clones from a licensed medical marijuana treatment center, providing the personal consumption of cannabis cultivation at a qualified patient's residence is subject to specified limitations, etc. That's it.
Okay.
So
So
I know that they
go
I
ahead.
know that they had talked about like there's no further requirements if you have a medical card because you've already been through the scrutiny of having a medical card. And you
Let's
have to have that medical card to grow your 6
let's
plants.
tear this apart very, very elementary. The less is more is the best bill ever. It's easiest to get through. It's nobody's really gonna get all up in arms. The less specificity, the more likely the success. So it's home cultivation. You have to
6
source
flowering plants.
6
you have to
flowering
source the
plants.
seed from an MMTC, which I'm not neither
Okay.
here nor there. That's fine. I'll do it because I want to do it. If that's how I have to do it, I'll do it. And I'll shut my mouth. But
Right.
you have to source seed from an MMTC. How much they're going to charge you is probably open. How much they, can charge you, where they get them from, genetic integrity, autoflower, all these things, they'll work it out. But you have to be a qualified patient, right? And you can only have 6 mature plants.
Flowering.
Flowers.
Flower.
That's mature. Maturation happens at flower. That's the last part of the life cycle before you kill her and harvest her, for goodness. But
Make
it
it
did
sound
not.
so horrible.
Well, okay, but it did not cover how many immature.
Others.
Well, mothers are in veg, and you can take clones, so that's not mature. If you were to, what if an MMTC doesn't want to sell seed and they want to sell clones? It says you can only grow from seed, right? you can only source seed. It doesn't say you can't grow from clones, but maybe that's the part that they'll have to button up. So
Authorizing certain qualified patients to purchase medical marijuana seeds and clones from a licensed
And
medical.
okay, I didn't hear that part. So you can get clones. Some people like to do clone starts. I like to do seed start, but
Me too.
to each their own. How are they going to store them when they sell them? I have so many questions, but
Right.
the less is more, we can fill in those gaps. Right now,
Yes.
as a patient, you potentially, if we can get this through, so if you want to advocate for the ability to home cultivation of marijuana, we're not going to say the other thing, then come with us to Tallahassee for Cannabis at the Capitol. We have something that we can use as a baseline to start your talking points. We always have talking points, like always, forward thinking, but this is a good bill. Like this is a sound piece of legislation that we can get across the finish line if we put it in time. So anyone who wants to do this activity themselves, or maybe have the ability to, this could happen before we vote on adult use in November,
Mhm.
because session's coming up. We'll be in Tallahassee January 14th, 15th, and leaving on the 16th. If you're cool, you get invited to
Yeah.
brunch. Okay, so come out there with us for Cannabis at the Capitol. You have to register on the Florida Cannabis Action Network website,
Didn't know it was full.
and we will make sure you are covered with the rest. We will teach you all of the secrets. Jeff will be there with Gus and Tara, hopefully. Is Andy coming?
Yes.
Is Andy there
Tara's
now?
coming. I'm sorry.
Is Andy there now?
No, Tara just walked in.
Oh, tell
Oh,
Tara we said
Hi,
hi.
Tara.
Hi, Tara. Come on. Hi.
Hi.
Tara is
I tried
Andy.
to get on, but I was at work, and of course I forgot. So I said, Jeff,
I
why didn't
almost
you
said
remind
that
me?
Tara is Andy's wife. No, Tara is the better half of Jeff, and the balanced calendar keeping. And
Oh,
Gus got a haircut. Oh my gosh, he looks so handsome. I love him. What a great group. Thank you, Tara, for coming on and being a part of this breaking news that we learn about today.
Dun,
So
dun, dun.
now we have some work to do.
We got a lot of work. Well, we had
got
work to
a
do
lot of
before,
work.
but now we have some work to do.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. Cannabis at the Capitol in January. Like, we're going to be hitting the pavement. We're going to have like all these stats and things. We got to find a sponsor in the house.
I think we will. Because I honestly, from all the talk that I heard last year, I don't think a
Campbell.
full rec
Campbell.
will pass unless we have.
Campbell's
Campbell.
considering it, running it.
Okay,
Oh,
so
oh,
send some edible arrangements to Campbell.
Yes.
I spoke with him after one of his meetings. Hector did, but
Nice.
Hector and Tara
Yeah.
spoke, and I spoke with Dottie.
Yeah, they went this way. So Jeff ran this way, and Hector and I ran this way.
That's how it is. When I go to the Capitol, I'm like, okay, where's the snacks, the coffee? Where can I put my bag? And then I'm like, zoom, 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 zoom. I'm like, who are you?
There's a
Let's talk.
difference between snacks and good snacks because they are lacking.
Yeah, I didn't know there was coffee on a different floor until the other day when Hector told me. I was like, oh, I've
Better
always
coffee.
just been going across the street, walking the half a mile to the Starbucks in the
Kurt
heels.
Smith was the last office we hit that day, and
Carla?
we went in, and he had a meeting. He was in a closed door meeting, and we just kind of milled about. And when he came out, you know how nice he is. I don't know
Yes.
if you've met him or not. He's
I have.
super nice,
Very
and
kind.
super greeting. Shook everybody's hand, and we got to spill all of these things that we were talking about today. And then, of course, he wanted a picture. We got.
I mean,
Hector
they don't ask
kneeling
us for
down the
pictures.
desk. Yeah.
It was a great picture.
Yeah.
Julie and I, they're just like fine saying bye. They aren't like, can we take a photo with you? We're like,
Right.
hey, can we have some of your candy from your table? Like, they're like, get out of my office. But
Andy was trick or treating. He was getting the candy out of the offices. But it was Senator Smith that said, hey, let's hurry up and get a picture, because we were all like, just trying to be in there and taking up his time. But he said, let's get a picture. And that's his picture. That's not even from any of our phones.
Aw, how
oh,
thoughtful.
That's his
That was
name.
nice.
share it and we can print it. You're like, can I get that photo off you, Carlos? Like,
Right.
you're
Well,
like,
we could steal it off of social media.
I
But
think it's
I'm really looking forward to meet you guys. I just feel like I know you
Definitely.
because I keep seeing faces, and it's driving me crazy because I got to meet you.
We're gonna
I
have
know,
big
it is
hugs.
so
Big
much
hugs.
better in person. I'm much shorter than I look in digital format, and Julie is way like faster than she looks in digital format. Like
Faster?
I'm like, she's about the same height as me. But yeah, we're all gonna be out there for Cannabis at the Capitol. I'll be out there Tuesday to Friday. Julie, you're Tuesday to Friday.
I'll be there Tuesday to Friday too.
Right. We're gonna be
Yeah.
behind the scenes setting stuff up, and then also participating in, if we can like go ahead and sneak away too, and making sure everybody.
I feel like this year I could actually relax
I think you
because
can.
the last 2 years it was so fast, and this year I got to go up and already do some action beforehand, and now I know my way around like a pro.
Oh yeah.
So
You're a seasoned veteran. Now, I need, like, if anyone's going to tag along with me, they need to be hydrated. They also need to be fine with cussing, and they need to be able to keep up. And also, like, yeah, I think that's about it. Just as long, like, have a snack for me, because I'll probably forget to eat something. I'll be like, I'm hungry, like, let's bail. And then yeah, I'll take Gus. I feel like I'll do
Yeah.
I need the dog for people to love me. So, but no, it's going to be great. I think we have a lot of work to do when we get out there in January, but it's
Yeah.
going to be actually a very productive, very like curated group of activities. We have meetings that we need to schedule now that we've got some of this stuff on here. And also
Yes.
not forget about the other cannabis specific language that's already been introduced, like the employee protections and the protections for parental protections, which is important for everybody, even if you don't have kids or worry about your employer. I don't have kids. I don't have to worry about my employer, but I do give a shit about all of those things getting
Yeah.
through that process.
Yeah.
So I'll go and do those, but it's going to be hard to pull me away from Gus. Like a dog at the Capitol, that's unheard of. It's like weed at the Capitol.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
the bill is in draft and it has a bill draft number from the House, from Valdez's office for the reduced fee card.
Oh,
And
for veterans, reduced fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so Senator Trunow's legislative aide, Eric, last time we were up there in
2 weeks
October,
ago. Yep.
yeah, 2 weeks ago,
Or yeah,
Put it-
in the middle.
put it in draft for us until the senator could make a decision on whether or not he was going to carry it. So the bill
Okay.
is in draft. And
So we can't find it on the website until it's been officially
numbered.
the senator has made that decision. So you and I spoke about it. I looked, it wasn't there yet. It needs to be assigned a number, which means that senator or house member needs to make a decision if that's going to be one that they will carry. Now they only have a limited amount that they can carry per legislative session, but they're not always about lip service. They won't just tell you what you want to hear most of the time, especially someone like you that goes back repeatedly. Checks and balances are being conducted. Yeah. So I would definitely worry about the person that told you that they were going to do something and then doesn't actually do it. Because
yeah, that's why I followed up with them on emails right away. Like, remember you said this, so I'm just making sure. And
keep doing it, because
every bill
introduced in the House needs a bill introduced in the Senate. We need to have companion bills that can be argued and through the committees that they're assigned to, that are different committees, and they all have their nuances. We have to provide testimony during those committees to provide insight for the people that may not be well versed in cannabis out in Tallahassee, the lawmakers that are not super up to speed. Carlos is one that does not need a lot of education. He already asked for the help and we provided it, but there might be some maybe JV out there that might need a little more elementary crayon written assistance from us, and we can provide that. We're going to. So we'll look at who's going to like, does it say what committees are going to hear it yet? Does it have committee assignments?
Okay. So. For you guys, yeah, for the other
for the home cultivation. I have to get this down. So no matter what, if
no committees yet.
Okay, so that'll come shortly.
The right to garden?
Yeah.
No, it's the home cultivation of marijuana.
Home cultivation of marijuana.
We don't call it home grow.
Right to garden.
Well, that's what it started at.
Yeah, same thing. Same. But I guess this is more palatable. There are experts that come up with the language terminology, and I know we're going over time, but this is such exciting news.
Important.
We got to get the committee. Once we find out the committees that are going to hear it, we got to be there to provide testimony and politely educate lawmakers on how this is a very friendly bill. we have to talk to the people on the committees ahead of time, make meetings with them and tell them how they should support this, or else ... And then we also have to make sure that it has all the support of the people that aren't in the committees that might hear it on the floor. And then we have to do the same thing for the House all over again from scratch, but more people because there's more House members.
Right.
And then we have to do that all over again for the veterans, discounted card, the employee protections and parental protections. We have a lot of work. We need
We have a lot of work.
anybody who has the enthusiasm about cannabis to show up in Tallahassee for the 14th. Please register and pay your thing first so that we know you're coming and I can make you a shirt. But once you do that, it's going to be a great time, and it's all going to happen fast. So make sure you get plenty of sleep and
Wear comfortable shoes.
and bring a partner. Like, you know, nobody should be left behind, or, you know, if they're tired, they should be able to break with others and stuff.
So
Just
when
like
we're
volume.
when we're asking people to come up, we want them there for the 15th.
14th is the day that they would be having their meetings, which now we have a lot of stuff to talk to people about. We need to schedule meetings with our lawmakers that might be on the committee that hears these bills, that might be on the floor that votes on this bill. So no matter what, it's going to be good to schedule meetings with your personal lawmakers, even those veterans you mentioned earlier on today's show, that you had spoke to and said, you know, I served, you served, we're homies. You know, you have a very valuable set of skills and history, not just Gus, not just veteran, but familiarity with these people, that scheduling meetings for you is going to be super easy. For others, it's a little harder for them to feel comfortable, but you have that comfort level elevated. So you're going to be good, but that's Wednesday. So you got to be there Wednesday, bright and early, to go meet with all those people to convince them how awesome this bill is. Or to convince them how awesome the other bills about discounted veterans card, which we're going to advocate for anything cannabis related that we believe is going to cross the finish line and be.
We spoke about all three bills to everybody that we talked to, because, like, you know, that's the right thing. I'm not trying to just work on one bill, of course.
We
had a
don't
good
make
meeting
you
with Zoe.
so
Yeah.
we don't make you so company lines with FL Can. Like, we aren't going to be like, okay, you're going to say this, don't talk about this. No, we're like, here's everything that we can give you that's up this year. Whatever you want to advocate for, let us know, and we'll put
Do it.
you with that group, and you do it to your heart's content, and meet us at the end of the day and tell us how it went. So it's okay if you don't love everything. I don't love everything, but I love these this year.
Yeah, no, I do. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. It's interesting to see how many people really don't understand. And like you were saying, like, those two senators, because they're military, might need some extra understanding. I don't think true now because of Treadwell Farms, but like, he understands the hemp industry and cannabis. But Danny Burgess, I don't know that he has, unless he's got someone in his family that uses cannabis for some reason. I know
There's
he's a religious man.
nobody in Tallahassee that their platform for running for that seat that they hold was cannabis specific.
Yeah.
No, like even Carlos, has a lot of other things that he champions. Cannabis has always been on that list, but not number one, because it doesn't make sense. You'll
Right.
never get the seat if you say, I love cannabis and a few other things, but mostly cannabis. No one will vote for you because that's too much. But you understand how it makes sense. And yes, you're 100% right. Those people that you spoke to that maybe don't really want to ask for more info, or maybe don't care, or maybe don't know, don't want to look dumb or something, you can provide them with, if they're on that committee, with some insight, some tools, and say, this is what it is, and this is why we want it, and this is why it's beneficial. Just black and white. There's no, that we're not, it's so simple of language. We're not trying to pull the wool. This is nothing else. Give us a discount on our cards.
Right.
Protect us from bad people trying to hurt us. Let us grow some stuff in our yard, and then leave us alone for a little bit longer till we need something else. So,
Amen.
all right, Julie,
Yes, ma'am.
I know I went over on time. I'm so sorry, but today's episode was really good, and I'm so glad we had the insight from Jeff on some of the issues and some of the feelings
It
that
was.
the veteran community, because this is I mean, to me, this is incredibly interesting. It's actually something I feel more and more passionate about every day and wanting to be supportive of. And that's the psychedelic research for the treatment of non-mental illness, trauma, and stressor-induced activities, separating those two very clearly. Because I don't think you're mentally ill. I think you're fantastic. And if
Thank
you
you.
want to use this or that to get to the bottom of everything that you did, we're grateful that you went out and served the country. Thank you for your service, but also thank you for protecting me and my family and the people I love without even knowing us. That's where the sentimental part, because I'll tear up. But yeah, you volunteered when you didn't even know who I was or who Julie was, and that's awesome.
Thank you
And
for what
thanks
you
for
did
coming back
us.
and
Yeah.
Of
joining
course.
the show after doing all that too. Like, can we
Course.
ask you for more things?
It's
So,
it's funny, like, I told you this is my 20th year out of the Navy. So it used to be I've spent more time in the Navy than I ever spent out of the Navy, but now it's the opposite way around. I've
that's
been
good.
out as long as I was ever in, and it feels good because now I can take all those things that I learned in the military and apply them to my life now and with a clear mind without
Right.
being opioided out or over medicated or whatever. And I feel like with the grateful veteran and like with the work that we do and even like pairing with FL Can and going to the Capitol, that I'm in more service now to veterans of all ages, older,
Mhm.
younger, first coming out, been out for years. I'm helping them more now with knowledge and life and getting their disability rating and finding cannabis as medicine or just having another peer to bond with.
Mhm.
Than I ever did in 20 years in the Navy, than they ever taught me to be able to do, right? So, like, right now, I feel more connected to my service members
That's
than I
good.
ever did while I was in the Navy. I don't really communicate with those guys that I served with because I was in such a bad way when I left.
Yeah.
I was so angry and distraught that I didn't even have a retirement ceremony. I told them I don't want a retirement ceremony. I went home. I went to work one day and I went home the next day uh, because I felt broken, and I
Yeah.
was treated like I was broken. So I didn't want them. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction
Don't
of
celebrate.
waving
Yeah.
the big giant American
Yeah.
flag and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at what we did. Yeah,
Look at
hoorah,
how
hoorah, hoorah. When
exactly.
in my heart, I feel like they mistreated me after I got hurt. Right. Like I went from being a very active, pointy end of an operational environment to being broke and them saying, well, here are the keys and make sure all the classified material is put away before you go home. Like,
Mhm.
so I turned into the overnight custodial guy, right? And for a young man in the military who signed to serve,
Yep.
who raised their hand to go wherever they wanted them to go and do whatever it was that they wanted to do, that when you got broke, before you were even exiting the military, they were already like, "You're over here."
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
almost like
that's really,
disposable.
really,
Like
I was
throwing
super
like
valuable. You
yeah.
you molded me into this soldier, this warrior. And
Right.
then
You
when
just
I
ripped my heart out.
right.
You're done. Thanks. Not even a thanks. And so that's why I left without a retirement. Like I was
I
like,
don't
I'm
blame
not going
you.
to let you thank me for mistreating me for 2
Don't
years while I was being.
celebrate this.
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
But Jeff, what people I I recognize first and foremost with you is that just like you said, you're now able to supply to the people that you work with, the veterans that are out that maybe haven't gotten as far as you have. You're the champion. So like everybody needs a champion. Everyone needs an advocate that can say, I was there, I did it, I felt the same freaking way. They did the same shit to me, and I made it out on the other side. And so you're proof that if you go against the
Powerful.
grain and try something alternative, that you can live and be a normal person. You can be back to normal Jeff,
Yeah.
okay? Because and and help other people that probably don't have that kind of I guess confidence in themselves yet, that feel like maybe there's a lot of lost cause there. But you're a big champion, And to think that 20 years in, 20 years out, that's a long time to get your bearings back.
Right, right. And I didn't
You've
really,
made a support system. You made a
Yeah.
support system
yeah,
that it's like I did AA for 5 years because I was an
right.
alcoholic. You know, you're building a support system for people who have come back who can't talk about things unless it's maybe to somebody else who's experienced what they've experienced, you know?
Right.
Like, I couldn't talk to you about my problem, and you probably couldn't talk to me about your problem, but you could probably feel comfortable talking to another gentleman who's gone through something or another soldier who's gone through what you went through.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where we're so valuable is that veteran to veteran,
That's
communication. And
huge. They should be
Totally.
pair I feel like if they paired up people that were leaving with people that have left, and they're like, "How do I cope with
so
life on the outside?" And there's like, "Okay, here's a guy that can teach you how to relive back in
they
society."
put you through a program when you're getting out. It's called TAP, Transition Assistance Program, right? The things that they don't tell you about, like, hey, if you move to Florida, you can get in the medical marijuana program and it's legal through the VA. They don't tell
Right.
you that kind of stuff. Instead, they tell you this is where you get your prescriptions, and they don't give you like all the decision making tools. um, you know, Obviously they just turned down that thing about VA doctors prescribing
Yeah,
cannabis,
that was
and I
in the
think that
hemp.
was probably a fear that it was going to come back. And how are we going to provide all these meds? That if we're prescribing it, we got to provide it, right? Is
Well,
it?
it's interesting. I can go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy with you on what I think and how that got removed, because we did talk about this on a previous episode about how why would you ever want to eliminate that out of the bill? It's a government spending bill that utilized itself for drug policy reform, which is ridiculous in itself. But why would you eliminate something that would
Yeah.
benefit our veterans to have VA doctors be able to recommend for them? And yes, it could be supply chain and where are you going to source it if it is something that comes from the government, but we'll get into that next. I think we should do a special edition because I know how valuable and how much people care about the veterans and their story. Everyone's got their own story. I got into this industry because my grandfather, who was in the Navy, got sick in the wrong state and needed alternative medicine and it was not legal. So I had to do what I had to do. And here I am. But you served in the Navy and you're here. So our stories are very different, but there are some links that are similar with every person. Julie and I have links, and Jodi and I have links, and J Mac and I do, and now Jeff and I do. And I think it's great. I think it's phenomenal. You bring in great people, they provide great insight, and everyone that you take out to Tallahassee with you seems to really enjoy themselves and want to go back. So we will be there on the 14th. Julie and I on the 13th, or probably be there like the Sunday before, whatever. But we can't wait to see you, and we can't wait to see some of our listeners. And I hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode. I know I did. It was very comprehensive and very in depth, and I feel like we got some really good stuff accomplished. So, Julie, I
Yes.
barely let you talk. I love you so much. Thanks for doing
That's
this.
okay. It was a great you guys had a lot of nice things to say, and I just kinda sat back and let y'all do what you needed to do, and I chimed in here and there when I needed to.
You are so
So, it was
everything you say
I
was
got
so
what I
good.
wanted today. We got a right to cultivate bill coming, so
Well, it's there. Now we have to get across the finish line, which means we need to
got work to do.
start stretching and exercising so that we're ready for Tallahassee. Yeah, we're gonna eat vegetables and stuff and like Rocky theme song. Jeff, thank you for joining us. I know
You're
you were going to
welcome.
cover Ambassador Weeks. Thank you for staying for the entirety, and it
For
was
sure.
such valuable information that I've always had questions, and I never had anybody I could ask until you were open and available for that. So
Of
thank you.
course. I try to be as open and honest about like my whole story because it's a true story. And even though there are some ucky things in there like chewing up opioids, it's necessary to say that because there are people out there that are doing that. And it wasn't until my cousin kind of called me out on the things that I was doing that I even recognized it in myself. So for me to be real and honest and open about it really helps people understand the plight and the solution to fixing that what might be disconnected.
It's
Part of
amazing.
your
No,
recovery.
yeah,
Sharing
and
your story.
Julie did it too. Julie was open, honest about her past. And, to be honest with you, there might be somebody that doesn't know some of the darker sides of your life, but they might know you. And now knowing something vulnerable might help them to come to you and talk to about it. And both of you are super warm people, easy to talk to. So I think it's great. I appreciate both of you for sharing the insights about your past and how you got here, because it's very brave, and I'm proud of both of you. So I couldn't have had better guests today.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
So we'll see you
Yeah.
next week for
Yes.
Elevated Intel episode, blah, 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 whatever it is, whatever we're at, making change. I forgot, whatever. So it's like 30 or something. So thank you. And we will talk to you next week. Jodi will be back from her vacation. And that's it for today. Cynthia Brewer signing off for Elevated Intel with Julie and Jeff. Thank you again, both of you.
See
Thank you.
ya.
Bye.